Hello, welcome to episode 15 of our Let's Play Hearts-Vine 3 Italy. You might remember from last time that the Soviet Union has basically overrun two-thirds of Germany and tripped about half their army up in the Baltic coast here around Leningrad. And while this is happening, we've actually almost driven the Western Allies into the sea in France, which is good. I'm kind of hoping when we do it, the German forces will be able to turn around and hold the Soviets back. Yeah, there's nothing much happening in the Caucasus. We've managed to hold them steady there with no changes over the last episode. And yeah, a little uprising there. Japan hasn't really done much lately. For a long time they've been kind of capturing these islands near Hawaii here, but haven't yet gone for Hawaii itself, or at least not that I've seen. Haven't quite gone for New Zealand, or parts of, well, it's Indonesia now, and Malaysia. Yeah, I was just having a quick look to see where the Japanese army actually is, but I have no idea. So anyway, events in southern France here are going to be where it's at for the next little bit. Mainly because I've pushed my forces mostly in towards Bourdeux, and now we are actually at the risk of being cut off, but we've cut off most of the supplies going to this area, so we should be able to source it out fairly quickly. Okay, Soviets launching a few offensives, and they are all beaten back. Excellent. Just going to try and get the headquarters divisions somewhere near the soldiers they're supposed to be leading. My main objective in the near future is to capture Bayonne, since that will completely cut these forces off from all supplies whatsoever. And once that happens, it's just going to be kind of a matter of time. I mean, you saw the problem that supply shortages have for me in the Caucasus. Except in their case, it won't be supply shortages, it'll be supply complete and utter absence. But having said that, I do not want to have any more of my soldiers cut off and surrounded. Well, yeah, well, I don't want to lose any more divisions. I can't really replace them at the moment since I've got no manpower. And to be honest, I don't expect I will actually have manpower for a very long time. It'll probably take about a year without fighting before I can get my manpower up to kind of reasonable levels. Considering it's getting towards the end of 1943, a year without fighting is not happening anytime soon. I really should get those soldiers in Bourdeux to do something, but that's alright. Like, I can see that there are soldiers moving to cut off my supply lines into Bourdeux, but it's kind of not really that important. At least not right now. I mean, there'll be supply convoys going right around Spain. Well, see, we've just been cut off, but there were supply convoys going right around Spain into Bourdeux. So we'll still keep getting supplies through. Once we capture Bayonne, there'll be even more convoys coming through. It's just kind of a case of trying to eliminate the Allied forces in this region. no supplies. They really should, considering they're sitting in a major port. Okay, just moving into capture Bayonne there. Yep, and the Germans and Romanians have almost driven the last of the Allies out in the north there. Well, we've also got to capture La Rochelle, but not much more to go, and hopefully they'll come down here and help me out a bit, because I seem to be fighting the bulk of the enemy forces in this part of the world. Cool, captured Bayonne, so now they have absolutely no supplies. Oh cool, Nationalist China joined our side. Germany should ask them to come help fight the Soviet Union, because they will have a lot of soldiers. Not very good soldiers, but a lot of soldiers. And we could really use that. Still no supplies in here, we can't really attack without supplies. Although for some reason we've got supplies in the south but not in the north. You see, those guys are doing alright. We're winning in the south, just what's happening with our supplies in the middle here. I'll just get my HQ divisions to wander around the safe way via German held territory instead of trying to charge straight through the British divisions. Thought for going for a sneaky little encirclement there, but thought better of it. Just there's not really much point taking risks at this point. Yes, now Bayonne's been cut off. Okay, driven them out in the north, just got to capture La Rochelle, but there's no one holding it. So it's just down the south that the Brazilians and their friends are still fighting. Lack of supplies, yep. But I'm actually more affected by lack of supplies than they are. Which is very interesting. Because they should have none, whereas I should have some. Okay, Things looking bad for Germany. Cool, at least we'll win this one fight. Soviets have almost pushed up to our defensive line here. But look at all those Romanians trying to get it back to their homeland before they're cut off. Okay, we're under attack by own. We'll pull back to help them out. Because we're going to have to hold that port. Okay, we're sitting in the port, we have 50% lack of supplies. That's just not right. No, they can't attack if they don't have supplies. Well, actually, why can't I? Thought infantry still could. Whatever. Once those armoured troops, that division gets back, we should be able to hold Bayonne. So there you go. Got a pretty significant advantage there in just wearing them down. I mean, without supplies, they're not going to be able to recover their morale. It looks like they're going to win there. So we'll just stop attacking for a bit. It looks like they'll actually win that attack. I'll get a few of these divisions from Bourdeux in there. Should be able to hold the front. I call Japan the next communist China. Sweet. It's not of huge significance, but well, it's another front we don't fight on. Okay. What's happening with supplies? Do we have a convoys? No, why not? Because I turned off auto-create supply convoys when I had to supply things. Okay. I go, well, that's been a wasted couple of weeks. And when I'll just leave it. If I just let it go, when it gets to midnight, I should see 2 brand new convoys pop up. Get taking supplies to those soldiers. There you go. And now we'll start being able to actually fight. Ah, why did I wait so long to actually look at the supply screen? I was going, I don't seem to have any supplies. It never occurred to me to see why I don't have any supplies. Ah, well, I'm an idiot. Whatever, I suppose it doesn't matter all that much at this point. We're going to win anyway. I mean, we held the major ports. Okay, see, there you go. Our troops are on the ports, both got supplies. So we can start attacking out of the ports. And I think tomorrow they'll get, you know, 1 province away from the ports. Soviets trying a few little offensives there. They're actually not driving. They're not driving very fast into Yugoslavia. I thought they pretty much would have conquered it by now. Yeah, stop that. Yes, yes. I'm slaughtering them, but we can't afford to replace our soldiers. They actually managed to hold the front. Good on you, Canadian, whatever it was, 4th Division I think. Oh, 1st Canadian, mountain troops. Look it. Okay, now these guys have supplies. So how about you finish off those South African troops there for us? Nope, you lost. Oh, of course, because they had no more organisation. I'll just ignore research for now. I think military matters are kind of pressing. Okay, yep. Just need to find a division with organisation to lead the attack. Just not do too much now. Just let our soldiers recover, get some supplies going. But look at the improvement those 2 convoys have made. Suddenly everyone's got supplies and they're all kicking ass. And I say that, and then for some reason lots of soldiers lose supplies. I think we can get away with attacking again, simply because I don't think the Canadians would have recovered any morale, whereas my guys were slowly increasing, so we should do better this time. Which does seem to be the case. Trying to move that massive stack somewhere a bit more useful. I'm surprised Slovakia is still holding out in their capital. I should go for an encirclement. I don't really have the soldiers there immediately to actually, you know, complete it or hold what we've encircled, so maybe I shouldn't. Nah, just leave it for a bit. There's really no point really taking risks right now. Yeah, I think for the most part the Brazilians here are kind of screwed, and they can't really effectively resist us at all. So it's not just a case of driving them back somewhere where we can surround them and get them all to surrender. Just do a big drive towards Toulouse here. I don't think they can really put up much resistance, so we might as well just try driving them back. And Toulouse does seem to be where most of these soldiers are gathered right now. Maybe I should put my defence line forward a bit to hold Innsbruck, just to try and keep Germany in the game a bit longer. Although if I did that, I'd either have to make it thinner or leave the northern flank open. Either of which is particularly appealing. General Guderian was there, although he was fighting under the Hungarian flag. I think Germany must surrender soon. Like, it's probably got to the point where if they lose one more city, they're out of it. And there's a Hungarian. Yeah. Hungarians need an attack, but hopefully I'll get there before them. Ah yes, see Toulouse is Italian. So how am I going to do this? Let's just... Yeah, I'll just set up a straight, you know, army corps front thing. Well, I mean, like, just give every corps into kind of a different province and just drive them back, I think. So yeah, that's a short enough front that I can do that. I mean, they're not going to be doing any offensives anytime soon since they're all out of supplies. I'm good, and all my allies are heading north to fight the Soviets. Excellent. So I'll concentrate all the armour into Pamiers since, well, it's woodland, but it looks better than the Alps and the Pyrenees in the south for armoured warfare. Australia and Romania's given most of their soldiers back to the Germans. At least that's what it looks like to me. Because of course if they're in the Romanian flag they cannot fight the Soviet Union, same as if they're under the Hungarian flag. There you go. Okay, they captured about half of Yugoslavia. Germans are still holding out near Trieste, although I would prefer it if they were actually in Trieste. I'm just going to move my fleet over to the Atlantic coast. Now, there's only one reason why I'd move my transport ships over there, and I'm sure you can all figure it out. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking I'm going to invade the UK once this is done. I figure Britain's probably lost almost all of their soldiers in these campaigns here, well, once I kill them. So there can't be very many soldiers left defending it. It looks like I'm actually going to lose this battle. I'm only attacking with one armoured division. But the others must be coming along soon enough. Now we can get caught up later, it's not that important I suppose. Germany 80% of the way to surrendering. So that's not good. But they've managed to hold their ground for the last little bit at least. Just send the first corps around on a bit of a loop to help out my armoured troops since they're struggling in Pamiers. Oh, okay, another Greek uprising. Oh, I don't care, I was just going to lose it to the Soviets anyway. Actually no, this could be good because Bulgaria and Romania are right there to fight the Greeks, and they might actually take it for the Axis in such a way that the Soviets won't be able to grab Greece. That could work out very well for us. Especially if the Greeks conquer quickly and actually take southern Yugoslavia as well. So while my armoured troops are struggling, I'll just get everyone else to advance. Oh, the Germans are starting to push the Soviets back a little bit here. But they in turn are being driven back into Estonia now. The Greeks are doing well, advancing to Albania. Yeah, I'll just drive the armoured corps right through the centre. Because these guys are pretty well done. "24 manpower needed to cover everything." It's not too bad. I thought it was up to about 40 at one point. Well, I suppose, you know, I've stopped attacking into the Soviet Union, so we should be, you know, at least not losing so badly over there. Yeah, the Soviets have a fleet in that part of the Mediterranean, but it doesn't bother me enough to do anything about it. I mean, really, I should actually be sending my naval bombers over there, or really I should be sending them over to help fight, you know, Kingdom. Because at the moment I think they're still patrolling the Mediterranean, but whatever. Okay, that should all go right, so I'll take the 4th Corps over to... let's just do it out of Bourdeux. Over to Bourdeux to prepare for the invasion of Britain. Since they weren't attacking, they'll be the first ones to attack into Britain. Alright, cool, so now I'm just gonna hang around here. Go away. And just wait for these guys to bump into one of my soldiers and surrender, or one of my divisions and surrender. Which unfortunately might take a while. Oh, they're attacking into here. And my garrison divisions are holding now, and they're wearing them down pretty alright. I think I've got... I thought I had bombs around here somewhere. There they are. Might as well get these guys to help out. Introduction. Just to attack the rear area and destroy their organisation as opposed to killing their troops. I'll just get these bombers. They'll be covering kind of northern Yugoslavia, southern Germany, just bombing constantly. Yeah, look at that, the Soviets being hammered in that battle. Okay, cool, they've all surrendered. So you guys might as well move to Bourdeux as well. We'll get these guys and load them onto the boats. And where should we invade? I think if we capture these two ports right in the centre in the south of England, they should do alright. We should be able to get enough supplies for the entire army through there. Whereas Plymouth's probably too small, and if it's not, we've, Bristol, Dover, Plymouth is actually fairly nearby. So we'll try and capture Bournemouth first. We'll just get our Liberating Marina to come up and just chill out in the English Channel. Provide fire support and help keep the Royal Navy away. Cool, the Germans have a few ships nearby. They'll be able to help, maybe, probably not, but they might. Okay, they're landing at Weymouth since there's a garrison division holding Bournemouth. Okay, let's hope the Royal Navy doesn't show up in force. Because that could be very bad indeed. It actually does look like... Okay, they've all gone now. There you go, a few paratroop divisions and an armoured division. Garrison infantry. Not too much though, looks like we should be able to handle that. Maybe once the rest of the soldiers get there. But at least looks like we should be able to get onto the beach. Okay, they've moved someone. And again it's disappeared. And we're not fighting, there we go. Garrison division it looks like. And we're gaining ground. If that armoured division were to arrive before we get on the before we capture the province, so that could be bad. Okay, almost there. Oh cool, the Germans are definitely driving the Soviets back. Well, it looks like the Soviets have just been spread so thin by how rapidly they've actually gained ground. Okay, 91% of the way there. 92. All of our soldiers are waiting to come in, we've just got to get on the beaches first. Well, not really on the beaches, as so much as advance off the beaches. Okay, almost got 97. 45, what happened there? The Armoured Division showed up. But hopefully we can... Yes, we managed to defeat the Garrison Division before the Armoured Division could really get into the battle. And so caused it to withdraw as well. Actually, that was probably the best possible way that could have happened. Just gotta wait for a little bit. It's at 90 hours before they can attack again. Then they can go capture Bournemouth. Oh, and of course you've got to wait for the Headquarters Division, which will take 2 more days to get off the boats. And there's a United States fleet there. Doesn't look to be causing too many troubles. Oh, well, there we sunk 2 cruisers in the destroyer flotilla. So no, it didn't cause any problem at all. I'm really surprised the Royal Navy hasn't showed up. Because, I mean, that took a few days to get off the boats, and it can't take that long to sail from wherever they are to here. Maybe the Germans have actually just been slowly wearing them down for me. Actually, it just occurred to me I should probably leave 2 of these guys behind to hold Weymouth. And their transport fleet's back. I think they can manage by themselves. I left the Regia Marina there to give fire support for my soldiers. The Americans have shown up again. Single destroyer flotilla. You're not going to have a good time. Nope, it was sunk. Okay. Another boatload of soldiers. Or boatload. Few boatloads of soldiers. Let's do this from the top, it's going to be much easier. Okay, 3 armoured divisions and 2 infantry divisions. No, invade Taunton? Yeah? Oh no, we don't want them here, we want them to be down here with the Regia Marina. And hopefully we'll have captured Bournemouth by then, and we can just unload them in the port, as opposed to having to drop them off on the beach somewhere. But this armoured division is counter-attacking us. Looks like we're going to win, but it's probably going to delay our attack onto Bournemouth. Oh, and the rest have arrived. Transport fleet. What shall I do with them? What should I do with them? I think we might as well just invade Bournemouth again. Actually capture it. Yes, he landed on the port. So you've got an infantry division, a Canadian infantry division, and a garrison division. But we're pretty well kicking their ass. Especially since our troops out of Weymouth are helping as well. Sunk another American destroyer division. Cool, well you can go... Let's put you right there since that's where the Soviets are attacking. We'll just leave it there for now. Oh cool, we've driven them off of Bournemouth, I missed that. So how about the troops in Weymouth can just move up and capture Bristol? Another port's always good, and it'll trap off those British forces in Cornwall. Again, I should probably leave a couple behind just to defend the place. I've sunk another American cruiser. The American Navy is not having a good time in the English Channel. I'll just get my armoured divisions to push the British back a bit. I'm actually pretty confident in the ability of my troops to handle the British now. We've lost the Battle of Bristol. Oh, that's because that's the Headquarters Division attacking by itself again. Yep. Still just over a day until they get the infantry get in on the attack. Just get these two to support it anyway. I think because Britain's lost India, if I capture London, I think they'll actually surrender. Like, they'll have just completely run out of actual ability to fight, and yeah, their whole national unity thing would be down well below zero by that point. So that's kind of my objective here. Kind of push forward and just grab London, force them to surrender, and that'll be that. At which point I'll probably take these troops out of the UK altogether. And well, I'm not sure. Probably send them back against the Soviets. That would be kind of the conservative thing to do. But it was also in my mind I could probably hop over to Iceland and Greenland and then into Canada. But I mean, I'd only have this single army. I'm not sure I could actually take North America with it. If the Japanese did invade from the other side, we could, but they don't seem like they're going to anytime soon. And the Germans have been hammered up near Finland. But they're definitely driving them back in Germany. One in Bristol or one in Portsmouth. Oh, cool. I think, yeah, all these guys can fit, so this is our last boatload of troops coming in. The Battle of Reading. And Portsmouth again. So yeah, my armoured divisions are actually doing very well for themselves. Once these last troops go in, I'll pull my battleships and whatnot back as well. There's no point risking them here. I mean, they do provide pretty effective fire support, but I don't want to get them sunk if I do actually have to go over and fight in the United States and whatnot. It could be very handy. Okay, so how am I going to do this? First infantry, might as well just head straight to Aldershot. He's in position to attack into London. Just keep them down, I suppose. Second go on their flank into Brighton. Fourth is going down to Cornwall. The fifth can go up to Slough, can work around the north of London. I'll leave my armoured troops to hold the gap between Bristol and Slough, or between Cornwall and London if you prefer. You see, they're already most of the way to surrendering. I think London is worth a ridiculously huge number of victory points, as you'd expect being the capital of the British Empire. Just move all my tanks up to Gloucester now. The Soviet Union conquered Slovakia. I suppose it was only a matter of time, but they fought well, and they fought for a very long time actually, considering they were pretty well completely encircled. And the British are bombing us. Could move airplanes here, or interceptors over here, but kind of can't be bothered. I'm very cruel to my soldiers at some points. I mean, I think my interceptors are just flying like air superiority over northern Italy at the moment, but that's important as well. The Soviets might start bombing us. And truth be told, I am actually more concerned that my garrison divisions will fail in northern Italy than that these guys will fail in England. Because for some reason, despite the fact that Britain actually has a fair number of soldiers here, and they're actually not bad soldiers, they're just not putting up much of a fight. Or at least not as much as I would have expected given their numbers. I was kind of hoping when I was invaded I'd only have a few garrison divisions and whatnot here. You see the Bulgarians are starting to attack into Greece, which means that the Russians won't get it. Won the Battle of Slough. Why aren't you guys attacking? Yeah, but you should be heading into Slough with the rest of your corps. Okay, I don't expect much resistance in Cornwall. And those guys should be able to handle it easy enough. Start the whole encirclement of London. Since they've got so many soldiers in here, I might as well try and surround them and knock them all out in one blow. Industrial capacity, excellent. Oh, I can actually put it in England. That's very good of them. But instead I'm going to put it down in Sicily. Because if things go badly against the Soviets, that's kind of my fallback position. As in, I think I can kind of hold Sicily and just operate out of Turkey, North Africa, England, and fight back against the Soviets for a long time from there. Although at that point we'd basically be trying to knock the United States out of the war, and then try and get Japan to come and attack the Soviets for us. But that's kind of my backup plan. Should things turn to custard. Just get an armour division to go and hold slow, so that I can kind of extend around a bit more further. Those two can attack up into Cambridge. Oh, they're under attack, so I can't order them to launch an offensive when they're defending. Just send one of those to hold Reigate, and the other two can... Well, I figure they're going to want to get to one in Maidstone, one in Southend. Should be right, but we'll just get to capture Dover for now. Oh yeah, and I think that'll be our little Empire's first radar station. In January 1944, Italy captured its first working set of radar. It's kind of just not that useful, really. I mean, it is useful. And there's some German landing ships. I wonder what they're up to. They might come give me some soldiers. USA is dropping paratroopers in Athens. Oh, that's good, because I thought that was held by the Greeks. Okay, those two can just attack into Maidstone. And headquarters might as well go there as well. Okay, I think those guys should be able to hold. So I forgot to give a general to that division. And oh, you might as well have a good one now. You're a front line. My garrison troops are well past the time of being second line troops. Some more industry in Sicily. Putting up a fair fight in Cambridge. I reckon we'll still get there in the end. And just move these guys up to Southend, and then once we capture Cambridge, London will be encircled, and there are a lot of soldiers in there. It looks like more are actually retreating from Cambridge into there. Won the Battle of Belluno, killed 4 times as many Soviets as they killed of us. Actually, it's kind of odd that we're fighting the Poles in England, since they are part of the Comintern now. Well, I suppose it's cooperating to fight the Axis, but I don't know. Actually, there are probably really Polish divisions hiding out in Britain when their country basically changed sides on them. So I suppose that explains it. I mean, I very much doubt Poland has a navy to come and save them. And what should I do with his infantry? No, I'll get him to go grab Cardiff since it's undefended. Because I think we've got more than enough there to actually take London. All those infantry divisions. British launching an attack out of London is actually preventing us from capturing Cambridge and finishing off the encirclement, so I'll just start my attack on London now, and I think we should be able to grab Cambridge before we actually take London and trap the British soldiers. They have so many bombers around here. I could get used to support the attack into Cambridge. These guys might as well have help in London itself. And we are kicking ass in London. And in Cambridge we're up to 88%. There's only one garrison division resisting us, and it is getting hammered. Almost finished up in Cornwall. I'll call the Germans captured Athens for me. I wonder if that means the United States was dropping its paratroopers on top of the German paratroopers. That would have been cool. Yeah, Bulgaria's grabbed the north. Okay, cool. We managed to surround Cambridge. And there you go, the retreating Danish forces have just been blocked off, and they will be driven back and they will surrender. And we are quickly gaining the upper hand in London. There's only one armoured division still fighting on. Excellent. So, we'll just get through. Just put these guys back onto the offensive. Just capture Sheffield, I think. Those guys will go to Cardiff. We'll get these guys to go to Birmingham, because I think that was the next major victory point in England. Just in case London's not enough to cause them to surrender. Yeah, London, Birmingham, then what's that, Lincoln? Oh, no, I forget the name. It just looks like there's kind of a big row of them heading up north. And where's Berlin? Germans are actually getting pretty close to recapturing Berlin. Excellent. Japan enforced conquer in the United Kingdom. No, they haven't. What's if all Japan's grabbed bits of Arabia? Okay. So essentially, instead of surrendering to me, Britain has surrendered to Japan, because they involved giving them almost nothing, a few bits in the Middle East. Okay, so it means I'm going to have to keep on fighting here. Okay. As you see, yes, they are 0% of the way here surrendering, so I'm going to have to capture a lot. Probably a lot more than Birmingham. Probably going to have to drive all the way up to Edinburgh. Something ridiculous. Well, the Americans recapture Midway. Anyway, I think we're going to have to leave it there. It's been about an hour. And yeah, it's going well. Nationalist China joins us. That's great news. Conquered China, Communist China. Oh, there's a little American landing in Persia. American uprising, a little militia division there. You can see the Japan's new ground, including southern Iraq. And when did Ethiopia? Oh, Ethiopia's probably just been liberated as well. That's cool. Oh well. Things are starting to look up for us, I think. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I will see you all next time.